All right. We should be back again. We should be live again. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. Bitcoin had the lowest weekly close since 2024. The bear market is officially here. The bear market is officially here. It is definitely over for BTC. It is definitely over for the cryptocurrency market for majority of 2026. So what we are going to do is talk about where we go from here. And I also want to talk about the current price action. I don't want you guys to get caught up. I do not want you to get caught up in this move right here. I'm going to be very honest, very bold and straightforward. This is not this is not some sort of a bottom. This is not some sort of a bottom of this entire pullback or this entire crash from $126,000. This is not some sort of the beginning of going back above $100,000. I've already seen that discussion. I'm already seeing that discussion on social media. Yeah, I'm already seeing that discussion on social media. I'm already seeing that this is a buy opportunity. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. Yo, chat, let's be very honest. A few hours of positive price action is not going to change, the lowest weekly close since 2024. I mean, just think about that, guys. This is the lowest weekly close since 2024. So, if you think a couple hours of positive price action, is going to change the lowest, all right, the lowest weekly close since 2024, I would say that is a big mistake that you're making. That is a very, very big mistake. If this is your first time right here, just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate you guys, actually. I think I got around 20 something subscribers in the last 24, 48 hours. We hit 243 subs. We are trying to get to 1,000. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, guys, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, of course, if you're watching. And if you have a project that you would like me to analyze, I'm here for it. I am here for it. If you have anything that you would like me to analyze. But once again, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be one of my most important live streams. Almost every one of my live stream is important. But this one right here, this one is very special. So, yeah, subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys can hear me very clear. Hopefully there's no difficult technique. There's no technical difficulties. And once again, if you have some stuff that you would like me to analyze, put them in the chat, guys. But welcome back. Let's see if we can get a few more of you guys to watch the stream. Let me go to X, man. Let me announce that I'm live right now. Let me announce that I'm officially live streaming. Probably we get a few more people to tune in. Probably we get a few more of you guys to tune in. Probably we get a few more of you guys to tune in. So yeah, once again, smash this like button right here. Subscribe if you are new. Hit that subscribe button. Should be somewhere around there, right next to you. If you have some stuff that you would like me to analyze, put them in the chat, guys. But let's talk about this lowest weekly close in the history. Well, not in the history, in the last 2 years. So the last time we had a weekly close this bad, you gotta have to go back to 2024. I mean, that is just the state of this market is unbelievable. Anyways, yep, let's talk about it. Bitcoin just had its lowest weekly close since 2024. And that, my friends, is RIP to Bitcoin for majority of 2026. That, my friends, is RIP to the altcoin market for majority of 2026. The last time we had a lowest weekly close, you gotta have to come back into, sometimes in 2024. And let's talk about the significance of this lowest weekly close since 2024. To me, if there is a reason to be bearish on this market, like if this doesn't do it, I mean, this got to do it right here. But if there is a reason, not to be bullish on this market, it's got to be this one right here. Like, how can you possibly look at this weekly setup? How could you possibly look at the structure of this weekly and not, point out like very fast, right? This doesn't have to take time, but not point out that this is a market that is trending down. This is a downtrending market. What you have right here is a lower high. This is a weekly lower high, which is not good at all. And then what you have right here, guys, is a weekly lower low, right? So right now you have very clear downtrend structure, and the obvious is we are putting in lower highs and lower lows. And let me be very honest with you. We are going to see a continuation of exactly this, guys, until this bear market comes to an end. So basically, the weekly is going to look like this daily right here. All right, the weekly is going to look like this daily. Just give it a couple months, because we are dealing with a weekly time frame. So every single candle right here represents an entire week of trading action. So if you think about next 4 weeks, we could potentially see the price somewhere in the 50,000, somewhere in the $60,000 range. If you think about, another 4 weeks after, we could potentially get some sort of a rally. So that's 2 months already. If you think about another 4, maybe 8 more weeks, we could potentially just go sideways. That's 3, 4, potentially 5 months. 3, 4, potentially 5 months, guys, you're looking at sometimes towards the end of summer. Like, this is the significance of this lowest weekly close in the last 2 years. This is not something that you want to take lightly. Absolutely not, guys. So, yeah, my expectation is that we are going to see exactly this right here. This was the last bear market. Very clear structure. Lower highs, lower lows. And then we finally put in a bottom. And then we finally start breaking some structures. And then we finally make our way back into, the bull market. So my expectation is exactly this right here. All right. My expectation is exactly this right here. So, when you look at Bitcoin right now, and I'm going to talk about this little green positive price action that we are seeing. But if you look at Bitcoin right now on the weekly, guys, it should be straightforward. It shouldn't really be complicated. We are at a major weekly support. $74,000 is a major weekly support. Now, most of you guys are expecting, some sort of a bounce at $74,000. Chat, you get a bounce on the lower time, but on the weekly, I don't see a bounce. What I mean by a bounce on the weekly, guys, I'm talking about, price action very similar to this. We got to 80,000. We had a weekly bounce, push all the way back to $97,000. And this is over about, I think it took about 2 months. All right. So 80,000 the week of November 17. We get to $97,000 the week of January 12, 2026. I don't think you get a weekly bounce. What I think you get is basically what we're getting right now. You get some sort of short-term positive price action. But on the weekly, I think we're going to slice through $74,000. And I think, you're looking at a Bitcoin that comes into this range right here. Right? I'm looking at the $50,000 and $60,000 range before we get another weekly day cap bounce or another weekly, relief rally. So it is RIP for Bitcoin for majority of 2026. It is RIP to the cryptocurrency market for the majority of 2026. And I'm not saying RIP because I want to be a hater and I want to have a different point of view or a different outlook on this market. I'm just looking at the chart and it's very clear. I'm looking at the chart and to me this is very clear. There's those out there who are still holding on to the belief that we are still in a bull market. As long as the price of Bitcoin is around $74,000. And let me be honest with you. That opinion is going to change very soon. For me, the thing about 74,000 is that if you're waiting for 74,000 to be broken, in order for that to be a confirmation for you that we are officially in a bear market, is because at 74,000, we halfway into the bear market. Like once we go below 74,000 price wise, we halfway into the bear market. All right. Now time wise, we are definitely early because, I think you're looking at majority of 2026 in a bear market. But price wise, we halfway through a bear market because I don't think the price of Bitcoin goes in the low $30,000 range. So if you're going to wait until $74,000 is lost, then what that means is that you're going to have to wait for a weekly close below $74,000. What if the week closes around, let's just say 65,000? What if we lose 74,000 and we continue to go down, and then by the time we get a weekly close, the price of Bitcoin is at $65,000? Are you taking your profits at 65,000? Yeah, I don't think so. Might as well just hold on to that position until the next bull market. That's the way I see it. All right, Chad, think about the last bear market. If your bull market invalidation was, below $45,000, like why even bother taking profits below 45,000 when we were already in the bear market? Like we were already basically halfway through the bear market. Because all you got to do is just hold on to your position. Price of Bitcoin goes to 15,000, bear market is over. Right, months later, the price is at $120,000. So if you're waiting for 74,000 to confirm that we're in a bear market, in my opinion, just hold on to your position. Just wait until the next bull market because it's not worth it. Even if we dump to around $35,000, you might as well just keep that position. But anyways, lowest weekly close since 2024. And my friends, it is RIP to BTC. It is RIP to the altcoin market for majority of 2026. Now, I also want to comment on, current positive price action. So BTC goes from 64,000. Look, this is the bounce right here. 64,000. Now trying to get back into the $80,000 range. Look, I'm on X, so the algorithm is going to is going to do it's going to do its thing. I'm on X, and I'm already seeing the bottom is already in. We're going back to $100,000. We are still in a bull market. Every single talk that you can think of when it comes to the full-time bulls, right? Those that only see the market one way. The market is only bullish. The market is never bearish. Yo, chat, let me be honest with you. A few hours of positive price action is not going to change the lowest weekly close since 2024. Just think about this, guys. A few hours of positive price action. Do you really think that is going to change like the lowest weekly close since 2024? Yeah, I don't think so. And you don't have to be a genius, to kind of figure out, hey, yeah, I don't think that is something that I want to get behind. Like, I don't really think there's a strong conviction in that kind of thinking, right? Like, you're looking at a few hours of price action. Yo, chat, the market doesn't go down in a straight line. Let's talk about why we're getting a bounce right now. You look at the 4-hour RSI, guys, extremely oversold. Do you really think RSI is going to stay oversold for, multiple weeks on the lower time? I don't think so. Buyers are going to step in. And this is exactly what is happening. Buyers are stepping in, but you don't have enough buyers to drive another bull market right now. Right? It doesn't mean that enough buyers can step in and drive another bull market from here. But the probabilities of that, just based on pure price action, based on the structure of this market, just, the probabilities are lower. Right? This is a game of probabilities, guys. I could 100% be wrong. But I'm not going to rally behind a few hours of positive price action when we just got the lowest. And look, this is not a long time ago. This is literally last night. Last night we closed a weekly candle, and it happened to be the lowest weekly close in the last 2 years. So you tell me I get the lowest weekly close, since 2024, and then a few hours later, price goes up, and that is supposed to change my overall outlook on the market? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I'm here for you guys. I was here for you when the market turned bearish long term in the higher $90,000 range. And I said we were officially in the bear market. And I've gave you guys multiple updates of how this was going to play out. And look, it's played out exactly, like beautifully, guys. As I don't want to say as predicted, but go check it out, the updates. BTC goes to 87,000. And I say to you guys, we're going to $96,000. But before that, BTC is at 80,000. BTC goes from 80,000 to 87,000. And I said to you guys, I don't see a reason to be a buyer. And then a couple of days later, BTC finally breaks some structures and breaks a trend line. And I said to you guys, at 87,000, I now see a reason to be a buyer. And my target is $96,000, maybe $98,000, somewhere around there. And that's exactly what we got. And when we got to 95,000, what I said to you was, you need to start taking profits because we are in, the sell range. Right now, it's time to exit the market. This is not a time to get in. And I was, of course, 100% right. And what I say to you was, we could potentially get a pullback. We will get a pullback. We're gonna lose the lows. We might get a bounce to retest what was once a resistance will turn into what was once a support will turn into a resistance, and then after that, people are going to get bullish again, but that is going to be a trap, and that is going to be the beginning of a move that brings us all the way down into the $70,000 range. Guys, those were my updates. Look, 11 days ago, that was my update. Are we in the $70,000 range? Of course, this is exactly where we are right now. $97,000, those were my predictions. Did we get to $97,000? Absolutely yes, guys. So I'm giving you an update right now. And what I'm saying to you is, don't be the person that allows a few hours of positive price action to think that that is going to reverse a weekly time frame. Absolutely not, guys. Remember, monthly over weekly, weekly over monthly. We've done this right here, guys. Monthly over weekly, weekly over monthly, over daily, daily over, let's just go with the 4 hour, 4 hour over 1 hour, 1 hour over whatever minutes. All right. This is how you should view the market. Right here on the left side, this is where you need to focus on first. So if the market is bullish on the daily, but the weekly is bearish, you want to stay with the weekly. And if you do anything on the daily, make sure this is a short-term price, this is a short-term type of activity. So right now I'm telling you that, the weekly is bearish. So you really think a few hours of positive price action are going to change this weekly? Whatever you do, do not fight this trend right here, guys. It's just not one of those. You look, some mistakes are acceptable. This one right here is absolutely not. And what I mean by acceptable, I'm referring back to your portfolio. Do you want a portfolio destroyer? Then go ahead and buy Bitcoin right here at 98,000, believing that it's going back to 100,000, 126,000, and potentially new all-time high. Could we potentially do that? Of course. But before we do that, this got to look a little bit more. It's got to look way, way different than this. This cannot look like this. And my challenge to you guys is that instead of focusing on short-term price action, I want you to come back Sunday before we get a weekly close, and I want you to see where price is. Are we still going to be right here, at 79,000, or, could we see us somewhere in the 60s? Chat, if I have to give you my opinion, I think by Sunday of this week, price probably in the 60s. Price probably in the 60s. Look, today is Monday. This is the first day of this week. All right, I don't think we'll stay here. I think we're going to end up closing this week way below $74,000. And I think we are more likely to lose this support right here. So, look, that should be my opinion on BTC. Both the lowest weekly close since 2024, and also, the short-term positive price action that's got everyone excited. There's nothing to be excited about right here. Absolutely not. Listening and work. Don't forget Myra and Clean Spark. I also got some Jasmine QNT. Don't know whether to sell, buy back in later. Look, I'm going to analyze those for you. Thank you for tuning in again, Lee. Guys, if this is your first time right here, like if you are new here, hit that sub. All right, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. And let's keep going. I'm down with Bitcoin, man. If If there's anything else that you guys would like me to, get into in regards to Bitcoin, just let me know. All right, let me talk about those miners. The miners actually today, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because yesterday was just brutal. Let me talk about, I think I talked about Mara. So basically, look, the analysis that I gave you yesterday, it really hasn't changed. So right now, if I'm looking at Mara, Mara has lost a major weekly support, $9.84. This is your next target, $7.25. This right here should be your next target. But I guess before we get to our next target, we do have a support right here of $8.97. So let me go to the 1 hour and let's see how this is playing out. So if I go to the 1 hour, I am trying to see if there is a reason, if there's a reason to speculate that the bottom of this pullback could be over. All right, so if I'm looking at this is a double bottom so far. But what we need is we need price up. So what I would do is this. I will wait for the price of Mara to get above $10. Or probably, yeah, if we can get above $10, I think the likelihood that that this was the double bottom and the lows are most likely will increase, in my opinion. And if we can get above the 200 EMA, if we can get above the 200 EMA on the 1 hour, I think that is even a further confirmation that the bottom of the pullback is in. And you could potentially be looking at the beginning of a move, back to around $20. But you have to wait for further confirmations. So right now, you're hoping this is the low. And you're hoping that we push up back into the $10 range. The reason I'm looking at $10, first of all, let's talk about this trend line right here. If this is a trend line right here. So I would like to see price above this trend line. So if we can break above it, that is a $10 Mara. Probably give us a pullback. Maybe we go to like 10 something. 10, let's just say 10.70 cents. And then we get a pullback. Put in a higher low around here. I'm looking at $9.90, and then we go up. So something like that will be a reason for me to look at Mara on the weekly and speculate that the lows are 100% in, and this is the beginning of a move back to $20. Right now, I will have to say absolutely not. Right now, the best thing to do would be to stay on the sideline, do absolutely nothing, and allow the market to tell you where things are actually heading. If we go to the 4 hour, you can clearly see once again what we have, so far is just a retest. We don't have a single bounce. So wait for the price to give you something, all right? Give us some sort of a direction. As of right now, we just don't have that. Let's talk about CleanSpark. CleanSpark is down about 3% today. If I'm on the weekly, this is a beautiful weekly trend line that must, this is a must right here, that must be respected. So if I'm looking at CleanSpark, personally, guys, major support around $10, exactly $10. And then the next one, this is the biggest one for me, is got to be this $9 support. If the price of CleanSpark is above $9, I think the probabilities of going back into the $20 range is higher. But if we go below 9, that is a major breakdown, and you could potentially get a drop. I don't know if we should call it a pullback. We could potentially get a drop all the way back to retest the lows of April 2025. And my friends, that is a $6.43 target. So Mara has got to do everything that he absolutely can to stay above this resistance. All right, $9. got to stay above 9. If we lose 9, it could potentially be over. So let's go to the lower time. Let's go to the 1 hour to see, all right, is there a reason for us to be bullish on Mara? So far, like, I don't have a reason to be bullish. Definitely wouldn't buy right here. Let's see how this consolidation plays out. Is it one of those where we might get something that looks like this and then we go up? Or is it one of those where, the move goes back into the $12, $13 range and then we get some sort of a poop? Like, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I will have to be a little bit more patient. And personally, I want price to be above the 200 EMA. So on the 1 hour, the 200 EMA is at $12.64. So what I'm going to say is I will be extremely cautious with price below the 200 EMA on this 1 hour. We're not just talking about this 1 hour, guys. When you go to the daily, all right, Mara has lost the 200 daily moving average on the daily. And that, my friends, is a big disaster. Like, look, I like to not entertain projects or stocks that are trading below their 200. That's because, more often than not, you tend to deal with massive downtrend. And of course, in a bear market, I mean, most of these things, especially the cryptocurrency market or anything that's associated with the cryptocurrency market, the volatility is just incredible. The volatility, guys, incredible. All right. Let me see, Jasmy, QNT, and those other projects. So let's talk about Jasmy. Yeah, those that are joining us for the very first time, guys, look, perfect time to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let's keep going. I don't like the look of Jasmy. I believe it goes way lower. Look, the only thing is this. This is the only thing where I'm like, how long is the altcoin bear market really going to last? And the reason I'm asking this is because altcoins actually have been in the bear market since 2024. Like, people just don't want to accept it, but yo, chat, all you gotta do, just look at the chart. In terms of Jasmy though, like, Jasmy's top came in around December 2024. So you could say that was the beginning of a bear market. But for most projects, the beginning of a bear market was actually early 2024, guys. But let's talk about Jasmy though. So Jasmy is in a long-term downtrend. And this is why you don't see me talk about Jasmy, is because, like, there's really not a reason to. Once it looks like the downtrend is coming to an end, trust me, I'm going to do updates after updates. So if I'm looking at Jasmy on the weekly, first of all, let's start from the monthly. If I'm looking at Jasmy for the monthly, I am looking for a reason. I'm looking for a reason to be a buyer. And if you are wondering, what is the reason? Like, how do you know when to be a buyer? Well, chat, let me explain the reason to you. Look, the reason to be a buyer is this right here. This is a reason to be a buyer, where price is no longer going down. Right? So on this monthly right here, I need to see price probably do something like this, where we no longer in a continuation of the downtrend, and Jasmy tries to break structures. So if I'm looking at Jasmy right now, like, I don't have that reason to be a buyer. Like, I really don't. All right. If we do get a V-shape, recovery or a V-shaped bottom, and I miss the move, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm not going to chase it. There's going to be plenty other opportunities in this market. I need to see a reason. Jasmy needs to give me a reason to be a buyer. So if I go to the weekly, I'm looking at this weekly setup right here, guys. And let's be very honest, all right? You have a continuation of these lower highs right here. So this is not good, right? This was our most recent lower high. So right now, you're looking at a Jasmy. I mean, we are inside of major support. But right now, you're looking at a Jasmy that could potentially come back to retest, the absolute lows of that 2022 bear market. But if I can get something like this, let's say on the weekly, if I can get something like this, where price of Jasmy goes up, even if we go down, I don't care at this point. Now we need to go up and we need to break above, 1 cent. This is the resistance that we need to get above. And then I need to see a pullback that puts in either a weekly lower high or a weekly double bottom. All right. Or even if we put in a lower low, I need price to get back above the resistance very quick. And I want to see something like this, guys. Like if I don't get anything that looks like this, I am perfectly fine to stay on the sideline. Right? Like I'm perfectly fine. So if the question is, do you get out of your position right now? Do you continue to hold? Like, I don't know what to tell you. All right. I wouldn't know what to tell you because, like, first of all, I don't know how much of that capital is really, really going to hurt you if you lose at all. But what I can tell you is there's a higher probability you go down another 50, 80%, from the price right here. It's not guaranteed, but there's a very, very high probability you get hit with another 50, 80%. And I don't want to say anything bad about Jasmy, but what if it actually never recovers? What if we are going to get like, a cleanup in this market? No more 3 million. Is it 3 million or 20 million? Is it 20 million different projects right now? However many altcoins we have, all right? What if a bunch of these altcoins, they don't really have a use case? Like, what if this is the end of it? Like, they actually never recover. Is Jasmy part of that never recover projects? And are you willing to, just ride it out? If it goes to zero, it goes to zero. It is what it is. Like, those are some of the questions that you have to ask yourself. In my opinion, if you have altcoins right now, I'll convert it into Bitcoin. I know it doesn't sound great because, god damn it, I'm down 70%. It doesn't make any sense to convert my altcoins into BTC. But child, let me tell you something. You want to try to preserve your Satoshis. Not only are your altcoins losing in terms of Satoshis, you also losing in terms of dollars. Right? You're not devaluing your altcoins in terms of only dollars. No, in terms of also Satoshis. So what that means is this, guys. It's going to cost you more of your altcoins to buy the same Bitcoin that you would have been able to buy today. Right? A year from now, you need more of your altcoins. Yeah, so in my opinion, look, if I have altcoins, I'll just convert them into BTC, but it is what it is, man. Let's talk about QNT. Chat, give me a second. All right. Let's do this. So, anyways, yeah, QNT. Yeah, once again, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. QNT, which one should we use? Binance, Coinbase. I think let's try Coinbase. QNT still in this long-term consolidation. QNT is still stuck in this long-term consolidation. I thought we have some. Okay, this is more than enough. Yeah, still stuck in this long-term consolidation. Look, this could potentially take you into. I mean, if we go up again, 126, 125, like that's a major resistance. Yeah, this could take you into like 2027. Like honestly, I don't see. Yeah, look, RSI, man. Like you don't want your RSI right here. Absolutely not. And this is a monthly. Your MACD right here. This looks terrible. I mean, it looks like a bullish divergency, but it's a bullish divergency on the monthly. So this could take some time, like a very, very long period of time. This is not looking good, chat. Absolutely not. Yeah, that could take some time. So this is not looking good. And then let's take a look at All right, people. I'm back. Anyways, where were we? Oh, Dogecoin. Let's talk about Dogecoin. Just so you guys know, for those of you who are new here, I am extremely bearish on this market. There's only one coin that's in a long-term bullish uptrend, but the current price action is just not helping it, and that is XMR. XMR is the only project that's in a long-term uptrend, higher highs, higher lows, but I think the weakness of this market is just not helping it. If I'm looking at Dogecoin is in a long-term downtrend. Speaking of lowest weekly closes, Chad, look at this right here. Dogecoin had its lowest weekly close since 2024, just like BTC, guys. This is not good right here. This right here, closing below 11 cents. This is not good at all. So my expectation right now is that, Dogecoin comes back to around 8 cents. I'm looking at this range. This is the range that I'm looking at right now. So, going from today's price, this is about a 20% drop. That's what I'm kind of looking at over the next couple of weeks. If you go to the monthly, you can clearly see we have two major support. You have the 8 cents weekly support. It's also very visible on the monthly. And then you can actually look at this 7-8 cents. This is the range right here. And then after that, you're basically looking at the absolute lows of that 2022 bear market, which is around 4 to 5 cents. So it wouldn't surprise me, right? It wouldn't surprise me if Dogecoin comes all the way back here, guys. And this is a 50% crash. So be careful out there. Now, what do I need to see from Dogecoin? Well, on the weekly, we now have a very clear trend line. So you have the top of this bull market around 47 cents. You take the top, you connect it to the top of September 2025, around 31 cents. It gives us a beautiful trend line. So if Dogecoin can break to the other side of this yellow line, I'll become interested in Dogecoin again. If we can get something like this, let's say price comes to 7 and then we somewhat manage to get to the other side of this yellow, and then we do a pullback and we put in, maybe a higher low or maybe a double bottom. If we do get a bounce, I'm interested in Dogecoin again. Or, I simply just stay on the sideline until price of Dogecoin gets back above its 200 moving average. So think of this right here. You would have started paying attention to Dogecoin in the last bear market, sometimes around January 2023, when price finally broke above the 200 moving average. But you don't want to get in just because, we broke above it. You want to see some structures. And then we had these pullbacks. We had these lower highs right here. And then once we started putting in, these higher lows, once we started bouncing off the 200 moving average, this would have been the time to jump in around 7 to 8 cents. And you would have done very well, all right? You would have done very well throughout this 2023-2024 bull market. So if your entry was, let's say around 9 cents, you would have captured a good 400% move. So, yeah, with Dogecoin, just like any other project, I'm going to say you got to be patient. Let's see what else. Is there an exchange that I would recommend? Exchanges right now, I'm just going to say Robinhood. I'm also going to say Coinbase. And I am also going to say Kraken. Those are my top three. Kraken, Coinbase, and Robinhood. The other ones you gotta have to be careful. And when it comes to wallet, I use. Oh my gosh, what the hell is going on? I use the Ledger. I have the. I think I have the. Which one do I have actually? I haven't. I think I have the Nano. Hold on, where's my Ledger? I think I have the. I should have my Ledger just right next to me. I think I have the X Plus or something. Yeah, I have the Nano X. That's what I have. I have the Ledger Nano X. That's what I have. It's been good to me. I had it for the last couple of years, so I can't complain. Yeah, exchanges, Coinbase, Robinhood, Kraken. As far as wallets, I have the Ledger Nano X. All right, let's continue on. So going back to Bitcoin, because I want to make sure with most of you guys just tuning in right now, I want to talk about what you are seeing right here. So yesterday we had the lowest Bitcoin weekly close since 2024. And I gotta be honest with you, this right here, this is a red flag. This is a major, major, major red flag. And with this right here, I think you are going to see the price of Bitcoin somewhere in this range. You just gotta give it some time. But you are going to see BTC right here, guys. You're looking at from $50,000 all the way up to 73. Well, you may be, yeah, we definitely going below 73, but yeah, you're looking at BTC somewhere in this range right here. Just give it a couple of months. The current price action, you see price go from 74,000 up to $79,000. Chat, do not pay attention to this price action right here unless you short-term trading. Unless you day trading, do not. I'm telling you guys right now, man. Do not be fooled by current price action. This is not going to change anything. A few hours of positive price action is not going to change the lowest weekly close in the last 2 years. Like the damage has already been done. And there's nothing we can do about it. Well, there is something that we can do about it. The only thing that we can do about it is stay on the trend. All right, stay with the trend. The trend is down right now. There is no reason to fight it. Embrace it. Accept the reality. Price of Bitcoin is going to go much, much lower. This is a fantastic opportunity if you are a long-term buyer. And even if you're not a long-term buyer, just don't do anything right now. There's going to be a time to be a buyer. And of course, if Bitcoin is going back into the $50,000 range, can you imagine the brutality in the crash of all coins? Yeah, it's going to be televised. Anyways, so let's talk about MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is a stock that I'm kind of I'm not going to say I'm kind. I am definitely very bullish on Sailor Coin in the short term. And what I mean by short term, maybe it's not so much a short term. It's more like, from now until March. Basically, when you look at the weekly drop or the weekly crush, we've gone from, $460 all the way down to where we are right now in a straight line. We don't need, okay? There's going to be a weekly bounce. If we don't get a weekly bounce, honestly, I don't know what to make of this. So my prediction has always been that we are going to get some sort of a rally, back to the 200, to the 21 weekly moving average. Right now, the 21 weekly is somewhere around like $220 or $215, somewhere around there. What's going on? Anyways, we're going to go back and retest the 21. Let me refresh this. We might go back to retest the 21 weekly moving average. And that, my friends, is MSTR, going back in the low $200 range. So that is one of my theses. And when you go to the daily, clearly you can see this is a bullish divergency. Yes, price is putting in these lower lows, but when you look at RSI is printing higher lows. When you look at MACD printing higher lows. So there's a reason to be positive. And also, if you look at the current price action, I mean, think about the last 24 hours. Bitcoin goes from the mid $80,000 range down into the low 70,000. I was thinking at the time, once the market opens, MSTR is going to gap down big time. But you look at where we are right now, it's not bad at all. All right, this is actually very encouraging. But yeah, so bullish divergency. If we close, I'm gonna say this right. If we stay above, 140, like if we close above 140, I think there's a reason to speculate that, over the next couple of days, we should work our way back at least into the mid 160 $160 range. So I'm looking at the 1 hour right here, guys. Look at the 1 hour. All right, look at the 1 hour right here. Like, this is not looking bad if you ask me. Probably we come back and retest this, and then we go up again. I mean, let's see how this all plays out. If you go to the 15 minutes, what do we have? If we go below 140, 139, that would not be good. But anyways, I mean, it doesn't really matter though, because we are inside of this major weekly support. That goes back from $100 up to around basically $200. So big range right here, guys. Makes sense to get some support in this range, and then send us back up. If we can go up to 232, I mean, I don't know if we make it all the way up there, but that would be lovely. So that's kind of what I'm betting on in the short term. And of course, other stuff, it is what it is. Ethereum, guys. Remember, we predict that Ethereum was going to $2,100. That's exactly where we got. We got to 2,100. Ethereum is getting some sort of a rally. I don't care what the price of Ethereum do in the short term. Let me show you exactly where we're going. Just give it a couple months. A few months from now, you are going to see Ethereum around $1,300. A few months from now, the price of Ethereum, this $1,300 range, this is exactly where we are going. Just give it a couple months. All right. And once we lose this, if we do, man, you could be looking at back in this $800 to $1,000 range. So you Ethereum holders, you Ethereum bulls, you gotta have to embrace this. You gotta have to embrace this. You gotta have to accept it. There's no in between. Once you lose $2,100, we are back in the $1,000 range. And we predicted this when Ethereum was at $3,000. So around 3,000, I said to you guys, hey, once we break down, you most likely get a retest. And that's exactly what we got. After the retest, it's a straight line down to $2,100, which was, a 30% pullback. We didn't get exactly 30%. We got a 27%. But what's the difference between a 30% drop and a 27% drop? I don't think we have a difference between the two. But anyways, chat, appreciate you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. We just streamed for about an hour. We'll do this again tomorrow. If this was your first time right here, just do me one big favor, man, and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and